The 2022 Growing Deer field event just finished. Man, it was a great event. We did all kinds of stuff. But today I want to share one of the interesting demonstrations that Keith Burns from Green Cover Food Plots shared with our group.
Well, we've got, they're kind of hidden here, but we've got these rings, these steel rings we've driven in the ground. There's 10 of them out here. These are just slightly over 6-inch diameter rings. They're like 6 1/4. And so if you do the math in your head, which I'm sure you can all do, 6 1/4 inch circumference by 1 inch deep is about 17 ounces, which handily enough is 1 water bottle. So when you pour this water bottle in one of these rings, you're putting on approximately 1 inch of water. And so what we want you to do, and this is the test that you do, is you put that 1 inch of water in and then you time it to see how fast it's gone. And then what we want to do, because sometimes it rains more than 1 inch, right? So you can take your water bottle, go over to these tubs, refill it, and then do a 2nd inch, and then time what that 2nd inch takes. The 2nd inch will be slower than the 1st inch because the ground is already holding some water and it's still moving through. And I don't know, how much rain did you get here recently?
Oh, we're wet right now. The soil's wet.
Yeah, so the soil's already wet, so it's almost like that 1st inch has gone in already because it's not dry soil, it's just waiting to just take in that first one. So what we'll do is you can just kind of break into groups. So we've got some back there more in the sod, and what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna kind of time those and have it different than what we have out here where the cover crops have been growing and planted a lot more as well. This is the cheapest, easiest test you'll ever do because it costs you nothing other than finding a 6-inch piece of pipe and then go back to the same area year after year and you can see if you're making improvements. So go ahead and open your water bottles up and pour them in and let's see what we got.
No,
it's already gone.
I think it's gone.
It went straight in.
Go on. Stop.
And when you get done, then go refill them and do a 2nd inch, and then you can report both results back.
All right, 2nd bottle going in right here.
Bottle 2.
Just pour it in there as fast as you go.
Now it's taking all the
What was your time?
55.
Wow. Are you guys still waiting?
Still waiting. This is number 2.
2nd bottle. How long was the first?
3 minutes, 20 seconds.
Whew.
And this is 2 minutes right now that the 2nd bottle's been in.
Oh my.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, Lacrosse Footwear, Moultrie Mobile, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, RTP Outdoors, 4th Arrow, Hunt Stand, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Burris Optics, National Land Realty, G5 Broadheads, Prime Bows, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
All right, let's see what we had for results here. I kind of walked around to most of the groups and I know there's a decent amount of variability. My guess is that the further out into the field and the further to the edges that we went, it got better because there's going to be less traffic. I know the people that were down in that sod, kind of that parking area, definitely was the worst, which is kind of what we would have expected. So let's just kind of start with the groups over here. What did you have over there?
First time we put it in, we really did it in just a couple of seconds. The 2nd bottle we put in, we had 17. The 3rd bottle we had about twice that, about 33, 34 seconds.
Okay, so did you hear that? Basically, the first one went in 2 or 3 seconds. The 2nd one, 17 seconds. The 3rd one, maybe 35, 40 seconds. So essentially, they got 3 inches of water in less than a minute. So do you think there's a rain big enough to have much runoff from soil like that? No. If there is, we better be building the ark because that's a big one. So, and again, that's kind of off to the side. There's going to be very little traffic there. The aggressively growing cover crops, that's fantastic. I mean, that would make any regenerative farmer proud as could be of those kind of results. Where's the next group coming back this way from there?
The first one was 34 seconds.
Okay.
And the second one was 2 minutes and 38 seconds.
Okay, so first 34 and then about 2.5. And again, that's not very far apart. Now, why is that? Well, there could be a number of reasons. Again, with the parent material here being so rocky, you're going to find a decent amount of variability. You know, I mean, we're looking at a 6-inch chunk out of however many acres this is. So that's why you don't want to hang the results on just one test. If you're going to look at your whole field, you need to be doing the work and pounding that thing in different places, and then you got to take an average if you want to kind of see what you're doing. But still, 2 inches in 3 minutes, I mean, if you do the math on that, and of course it's going to go down, if you figure how many inches per hour of a rainfall you could take, that's going to still be a tremendous amount. You know, you don't get 2 inches of rain in 3 minutes very often. That's a lot. So still pretty good. How about here?
14 seconds for the first, 54 seconds for the second.
Okay, so 14 seconds for the first, then 54. Again, better than that one, not as good as that one. So again, we would want to take the average of all those to kind of see what this area was doing here. How about here?
Still got over an inch probably.
You got over an inch from the first bottle?
No, the second.
Second bottle, you're still waiting on it.
No, we on 10 minutes. Over 10 minutes.
Okay, so they're on 10 minutes for their second inch and it's still going. So again, why is that? Well, you know, maybe they hit a wheel track, maybe there's, you know, more of a rock formation right below that. Could be a lot of different things. When you're doing it on your own farm, don't get shook up about that until you've done it in multiple spots and you see that they're all kind of bad. Then you have to kind of come to the conclusion that you probably got some compaction issues of some sort. Really, this is testing infiltration, but it really gives you a good indication of how much compaction you have. Because as you compact that soil, and if you watch the video that Grant and his team put out Monday, was a really, really good demonstration of compaction and how pulling that disc across will actually settle that soil. It makes it more dense. If the NRCS was coming out here and testing it, one of the things that they would measure is the bulk density of the soil. And what they would do is they would take a known volume of soil and they would weigh it. And soil that has more airspace is going to weigh less than soil that has less airspace. So with bulk density, the lower the number, the better, because that means you have more airspace, more pore space. So your soil needs to be light like that and not compacted. So they either just kind of got on top of a rock, or it could be, you know, a wheel track from the last time the equipment went through here. Could be a number of reasons. Again, that's why we would average it. What do we have over here?
We had 32 seconds on the first and a minute and 42 seconds on the second.
Okay, so they're way better than this one, and it's, you know, 12 feet apart. So again, that tells me that's probably not super representative of the whole field. That one would be, but that's going to be representative of some spots. So again, they got a couple inches in 3 or 4 minutes. How about here?
Our first one was 1 minute and 38. 40. I'm sorry, 1 minute and 48, and our second pour was 4:48.
Okay, so just short of 2 minutes, and then just short of 5 minutes over here for the first and the second inches. So again, you know, we're looking at different things. Now, one thing I noticed on theirs, we're starting to get on the slope going down. So one of the things that probably slowed them down was that a lot of the water was starting to run to the bottom of that. And that's something you have to be concerned about. The more slope you have, the more important it is that you have good infiltration, because all that water is going to want to accumulate in one place. And then it becomes even more water to have to infiltrate. And so that's one of the things I noticed there, is that it all run down to the bottom of the cylinder. And so it all had to infiltrate. They didn't really have a full 6 inches to infiltrate. It was only maybe half that because of the slope. And so that's something to pay attention there too. What do we have here?
The first one was 17, and then the second one was 55.
17 seconds and 55 seconds, okay? Very good. Again, you know, it kind of falls in within the averages here. So Shelby, are you doing all the math to average all this out? Is that what you're doing? I'm sure she is. Okay, did we miss anybody back here? Okay, let's move this way because these are going to be some interesting results over here. And we wanted to kind of set this up this way to show you the value of those diverse cover crops getting planted over and over again on a regular basis. So we've got 3 of our rings here in this sod. Now, you would think that sod, I mean, this is a perennial system. That's an annual system. And a lot of times people will say, well, you'll get the best soil health out of a perennial system. And that can be true if it's managed properly and managed right, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. This is perennial, but it's unmanaged. This is kind of parking, you know, for the bees, for when they bring equipment in here and stuff. They're probably keeping this mowed, so it's limited amount of growth. So let's see, who had this ring right here?
That one was a minute and a half and then went to 3.
Okay, so a minute and a half and then went to 3 minutes on getting that one in. And this one?
At 6:45 and to be determined.
Okay. So 6.5, and then they're still waiting on the second inch. And I can still see it ain't going very fast. Okay, now let's do this one.
320 and still going.
Okay, 320. So we've got 2 of the 3 that second inch ain't going anywhere. It's just sitting on top. Will it within the hour, will it go in? It probably will. But that means with this type of infiltration, we're going to start experiencing some runoff relatively quickly with any kind of a heavy rain. In a perennial system, okay? So again, perennials don't necessarily mean it's better if it's not being managed well and managed properly. We've got way better infiltration out where we're planting annuals because of the diversity, because we've got more roots growing, it's getting taller, multiple plantings per year, but most importantly, there's not a lot of diversity here. This is mostly just fescue. We've got a tremendous amount of diversity over there, and the diversity of plants will bring diversity of biology, and it's that biology that is forming those glues that is holding the soil together. It's the roots, it's the earthworms that are doing all the work of burrowing up and down and giving us that fast infiltration. So perennials doesn't necessarily mean good. Now the other thing is this, again, this is highly compacted because it's kind of the parking area, but a really good test of how good your soils are going to perform. Easy to do. Just get you some pipe, cut it to the right diameter. Just a little bit of word of warning I had when my guys made these. I kind of had them put a bevel on the bottom of this so it kind of pounds in easier. And then you want to get a wooden block across the top of that. Don't pound your hammer on this or you'll just bend that over. You put a piece of oak across that and then pound on the wood to get it in. Well, these are probably, what, 8-inch tubes? Where's Zach and Colton? They're probably about 8 inches total, and so what you see exposed there is maybe 3. So those are probably 5 inches in the ground. And you want to go at least that deep because you don't want that water just going an inch down and then sneaking out. That doesn't really give you a fair comparison.
The infiltration test is a very inexpensive and fast way to learn more about the soil quality where you hunt. Remember what Keith says, it's not how much rain you get, but it's how much rain you keep, and you want that water to infiltrate into the soil. That's how the water cycle was created to work. And even more important than understanding the water cycle is to understand that creators will for your life. And I hope you take time every morning to be intentional and seek it and seek Him. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.